A long time ago, about 5,000 years before the events of A New Hope, the Republic fought a war with the Sith Empire, in what would be called the Great Hyperspace War. After the Jedi Civil War that would later be referred to as the 100 Years of Darkness, the exiled disciples of the dark side of the Force fled Republic space and established themselves on the Outer Rim world of Korriban. Steeped with the dark side, Korriban homed a species called the Sith, who the Dark Jedi would interbreed with and rule over as gods. In time, they became one people and founded a powerful and wealthy empire built on the dark arts of Sith sorcery and alchemy. After a great deal of many centuries, the Republic forgot all about the Dark Jedi exiles, and the Sith in turn lost all of their records of the Republic. So, both civilizations flourished in isolation of each other, without one being aware of the other. But then, during the height of the Sith Empire, two explorers from the Republic, brother and sister, who spent their time mapping out new hyperspace routes, were desperately trying to escape pursuing assassins. Taking a big risk, they made a blind jump, which could have killed them, but instead, they stumbled upon the Sith. It might not have been completely blind luck, as both of the siblings were strong in the Force, but only one had some rudimentary training earlier in his life. Regardless, they had survived, but the siblings' lucky break would soon leave a trail of blood and devastation that the galaxy would be exposed to, over and over through the oncoming millennia, because after centuries of no contact, once again, the Sith and the Republic were now cognizant of each other. The two explorers could not have arrived at a more turbulent moment in the Sith Empire. One of the greatest Dark Lords of all time, Marka Ragnos, had just died, and two powerful Sith Lords, Naga Sadow and Ludo Kresh, were in open hostilities with each other for the right to be the next Dark Lord of the Sith. Sensing the Force in the brother, Gav Daragon, Sadow would take him as his Sith apprentice, while allowing the sister, Jory, to escape back to the Republic with a tracker on her ship, seemingly dealing a final blow to his rival, Kresh. When the Sith Lord's flagship exploded, Sadow declared himself the new Dark Lord of the Sith, and following the tracker on Jory's ship, he sent his fleet to invade the heart of the Republic. Now, Jory, after many days of dealing with various ordeals due to her and her brother being fugitives with the Republic, managed to sneak into the palace of Empress Teta, who ruled over the powerful and prosperous Koros system, which later would be renamed Empress Teta System in her honor. She did this to speak with her. Jory's warning about the Sith confirmed a vision the Empress' personal Jedi had experienced about their return. Though the Empress alerted Coruscant, her warning wasn't taken seriously. But having chosen to believe Jory was telling the truth, the Empress mustered up her own considerable forces and began to strengthen the Koros system, turning it into a stockade against the coming invasion. Sadow invaded several worlds simultaneously through surprise and rapid engagements. The savagery of his attacks completely overwhelmed the unsuspecting Republic. Meanwhile, Sadow had placed Jory's brother, Gav, now Sadow's Sith apprentice, in charge of the invasion fleet for the Koros system, so Gav could liberate his own home system. Sadow's lieutenants attacked various systems and planets, including a successful incursion of Coruscant, though they were held back by a strong Jedi defense. When at long last Gav met his sister again, it wasn't a happy reunion. She fought her brother in a lightsaber duel, believing him responsible for the death of a close friend, which he wasn't at all, and for the horrors he had helped unleash on the Republic, which he was guilty of. Ashamed of himself, Gav fled from his sister, abandoning his troops in the Koros system, and heading to confront his master, Naga Sadow. Without their commander, the Sith under Gav's command were soon in disarray and quickly were overwhelmed by Empress Teta's forces. Meanwhile, Gav opened fire on Sadow, distracting the Dark Lord long enough from using the Force to support his invasion forces on Coruscant, which provided the Republic an opportunity to rally their forces and turn the tide of the battle. The battle turned in the Republic's favor for good, when they discovered that a large bulk of Sadow's forces were actually Force illusions, conjured up by the Dark Lord. The Republic began a series of unsuccessful counterattacks that kept pushing the Sith further and further out of Republic space. Understanding that he needed to pull back and regroup, Sadow abandoned his fleet and, in order to cover his retreat back to Sith space, used the powerful Force-enhanced Sith magic crystals on his flagship to cause solar flare activity in a nearby star. This resulted in the star's implosion. But before the supernova collided with Gav's ship, Sadow's former apprentice transmitted the hyperspace coordinates of the Sith Empire to Empress Teta. The Republic now sent an armada right into the midst of a space battle between Naga Sadow and his rival, Ludo Kresh, who had allowed Sadow to think him dead. The Republic forces annihilated both Sith fleets in their crossfire. Kresh was finally destroyed by a kamikaze pilot, but Sadow managed to escape in his damaged flagship. Afterwards, the Republic's Supreme Chancellor ordered the invasion of Sith space throughout all Sith-controlled territories. Both the Republic's forces and the Jedi Order commenced a thorough military campaign, searching out any and all remaining Sith strongholds and destroying them. The Republic's attacks were temporarily warded off when the new acting Dark Lord, Shar Dahan, commanded his following to begin suicide runs against the Jedi and Republic forces. However, there were also many Sith ritual suicides, which reduced their numbers even further and gave the Republic the advantages to win the war. The Padawan to Empress Teta's personal Jedi, who had died during the war, was inspired by his late master and founded the Great Museum City on the planet Ossus, where within its countless libraries, there were stored ancient Jedi artifacts and Sith artifacts recovered from the wreckage of the invasion fleet. Through the centuries, Ossus would develop into becoming the principal library of the Jedi. As a show of gratitude for their fearless defense during the war, the Republic would also donate a sacred mountain on Coruscant to the Jedi. From humble, small, meditative enclaves, the site would grow to become the location of the future Jedi Temple and the Jedi's main headquarters after the eventual destruction of the Jedi Library on Ossus. As for the Sith, well, some were exiled to various planets, others were shipwrecked on worlds with no possibility of escape. The Sith, as in the red-skinned species, were decimated by the end of the war. But because of the exiles on these other planets stranded, the Sith traditions and knowledge survived, despite the Jedi's efforts to purge them from the galaxy. One of the Sith survivors, Lord Vitiate, returned to his home planet and summoned 8,000 Sith Lords to meet him there. Then, using an ancient superweapon called the Zildrog, he killed and absorbed the life energy of every Sith Lord there, as well as all life on the planet. Even the Force itself was absorbed into him, leaving his home world nothing more than an empty void, and Vitiate, himself, immortal. Declaring himself the Sith Emperor, Vitiate would take the remnants of the Empire and take them on a 20-year journey into the unknown regions, where eventually they would settle on the forgotten Sith colony of Dromund Kaas. Over the next several centuries, he would bide his time until the Republic was weak enough, that is, to strike at with a new Sith invasion fleet in what would be known as the Great Galactic War. But regardless, the lasting legacy of the Great Hyperspace War, and there are a lot of wars in Star Wars history that begin with the title Great. There's really nothing great about war, of course, or as Yoda might put it,
war does not make one great.
But it's that this made the Sith and the Republic aware of each other, and from then on, every single war to come after between the Jedi and the Sith, through the millennia, are a direct consequence of two criminal Republic hyperspace map charters who accidentally, or through the will of the Force, as Qui-Gon would say, made contact with the Sith and changed the galaxy forever. If you'd like for me to make a video on the Great Schism, let me know down in the comments below. Hit like if you did enjoy this video and you enjoy this lore content, because I love covering this kind of stuff. I think this is the true heart of Legends Star Wars. Now, before we end the video, here is a list of the Legends topics that I'm going to be covering in the coming weeks and months, so just so you have a bit of an idea of what's going to be coming. We've got the first Great Schism, Darth Ruin, Ajunta Pal, which was the first Sith Lord ever, Tulak Horde, Abeloth, Friedan Nad, the Dark Underlord, and someone you might not know, Darth Gravid. These are just some of the Legends topics that I'm going to be covering, and as well as that, I'm going to also be covering the original scripts for all of the movies. So I got all the books finally, and now my collection is complete, and I can be bringing you guys that kind of content that I really enjoy making, and I hope you enjoy watching too. Thanks for joining me in today's video. I hope you have an awesome rest of your day, and I'll catch you in the next one. Until then, remember, the Force will be with you, always.